time for Clark County Public Schools, and we're clear that our goal is to help you achieve your most awesome responsibility, which is to help help stakeholders understand understanding stakeholders' desires for what they want in a new superintendent, and making sure you find a leader that best matches what it is you're looking for. I am Shawn Joseph, and I'm honored to be with my colleague Kaweeda Adams here, and we're humbled to share with you the team of associates assembled to provide Clark County schools with a high-quality team to conduct a national search for your superintendency. We've put together a team that includes a project manager for oversight, and that would be Dr. Nancy Perez, the lead associate, which would be myself, and then 3 associates who are going to collaboratively work with us. So we have a representation from each region of the country. We have 2 or 3 experienced superintendents. We have a former school board president and the former president of the Council of Urban Boards of Education. We have folks who are in the universities, myself and Dr. Montana. We work to support superintendents around the country. I run the Urban Superintendents Academy with AASA, and we focused on equity our career. We have people who have worked within Clark County schools and people who have supported Clark County schools, and we'll talk about that. And I just say that to tell you that, this would be an honor and passion to support a board that has been so focused on trying to get things right for kids in the 5th largest school district in America. I'll turn it over to my colleague to talk more about her experiences here in Clark County.
Good evening, and thank you so very much again for this. Good evening, and thank you so very much for this opportunity. I'd like to start with a quote by Marva Collins. It is our responsibility to believe in all of our students all of the time. And it starts with the board's decision about a superintendent. And that's where we start, and we start to shape that. My name is Kaweeda Adams, and I am a 35-year veteran of education. I am currently working with HYA and Associates, and I'm honored to be able to present and share with you why HYA should be the firm that you choose for selecting the superintendent. I am a retired superintendent from the City School District of Albany. I served in Albany for 6 years, and our focus there was equity in education. I was a part of the team that developed the very first equity policy in the City School District of Albany. So it was a primary focus for us. The other thing that we were able to do in 2017, our graduation rate was 65%. And in 2023, it's 82%. It is an at-risk district. Students have lots of needs. There are over 54 languages spoken in that district. And so understanding diversity as a strength is one of the things that I would bring to the table as a member of this team. Most notably, prior to being a superintendent, working on equity, as well as improving the graduation rate, we looked at our HR procedures, practices, recruitment practices, retention practices, and we looked at how to better that so that we could attract, retain, and onboard the best quality staff members, teachers, and administrators that we could in the New York area. I have been honored to serve the Clark County School District for 28 years prior to being a superintendent. I served this district in numerous roles as a teacher, a building level administrator. I opened Bob Miller Middle School. I served at the district level. I served in the HR department as the secondary director of HR. And I also served as the director of instruction and facilities administration. The last position that I held in this school district was that of associate superintendent, where I had the honor and privilege of working alongside stellar administrators. And so what I bring to the table is understanding the district in and of itself. And just so that you have a glimpse of what that piece of diversity looks like, I supervised as the associate superintendent the feeder alignment patterns for Cimarron Memorial High School, Bonanza, Shadow Ridge, Western, Palo Verde, also Arborview, and Durango. I also had the honor and privilege of supervising and working alongside the administrators at ATA, as well as Veterans Tribute. So the magnet school experience is there as well. These diverse experiences that we bring to the table, not just myself, but also our team, provide the solid foundation so that we can understand the community and listen clearly to what families are saying about what they would like to see in their next superintendent. We listen for these attributes so that we can then work to resolve concerns that may arise. In addition to the outstanding team that's been assembled, then with HYA and Associates, our support staff, and you'll see them on the next slide. We have our support staff and that expertise and their extensive background to ensure that we can respond to the needs, that we can streamline that timeline of response time. We would have that single point of contact so that people would not, if as the board, you would not have to have 5 different people to contact. You would have a single point of contact. And that would also help us to resolve situations as they arise. But not only do we have a diverse team, you can see based on the cities and the districts that are listed here that we have met the needs and we have worked with a variety of districts, and we've demonstrated the ability to develop slates of diversity. In our portfolio, we have met and exceeded some of the challenges so that we could present well-rounded candidates for boards. A few examples include Ann Arbor Public Schools in Michigan. We developed a 7 male, 3 female slate. This slate was also comprised of 5 African Americans and 5 Caucasian candidates. At Fort Wayne Community Schools in Indiana, we had 5 males, 4 females, 5 African Americans, 3 Caucasians, and 1 Asian Pacific Islander in the candidate slate. And finally, Aurora Joint District in Colorado, there were 9 males, 3 females, 1 Asian Pacific Islander, 6 African Americans, 3 Latino, and 2 Caucasian candidates. In your packet, you can see a more extensive list of our examples and our ability to attract, to retain, and to interview a high-quality superintendent candidate slate in order to ensure that the students are able to progress in school and graduate from the Clark County School District prepared to succeed and contribute to a diverse global society. I'll turn it back over to Dr. Joseph.
And I just add that this team obsesses over excellence. I mean, that you have to have an obsession to get it right for children. So what makes Hazard Young and Atia and Associates different, and I think a standout from other search firms, is that we have 130 associates with us. And with that 130 associates, I mean, we think about what team can bring a school district the best possible candidate. So as you look, again, we have board members, people from human resources, folks who are at the university level, people who have been superintendents intentionally placed on this team because for the 5th largest school district in America, you got to search north, south, east, and west to find candidates, because candidates are not going to just naturally come to a job. They've got to know you, they've got to trust you, and you've got to be able to tell the story of this school district. I've had the pleasure, I'm on the tenure track at Howard University, and I support the Clark County School District in an executive leadership program here, where we've had over 120 people go through our program. It was amazing when I walked in and I saw Amber Rideout on the wall, because she was on my first cohort. I know she is in the transportation department. And then, I saw, I know our candidates have been promoted as we have gone through. In addition to that, in 2021, Clark County led the nation in really looking at issues of equity, and you developed an anti-racism, equity, and inclusion policy, 5139. Well, I supported you in that work during that time with Marie Sneed and with the work of Mike Barton and Sam Scavella. And during that time, I can tell you, I got to understand the complexity and diversity of this school district, and it takes people to understand that type of complexity to really make a difference. So we had an opportunity on that panel, for example, to engage the NAACP, Mi Familia Bota, Nevada Alliance of Student Diversity, the Asian Community Resource Center, Nevada Prep, Nevada, the MAPO Band of Payetas Educational Committee, the Nevada Association of Latino Administrators and Superintendents, the Police Department, 100 Black Men, the NAACP. When we do this work for your next superintendent, it's imperative that we touch every aspect of this community. I'm on a search right now where we did 65 community meetings, and I would imagine we'd probably need that many or more, in a place this big and this complex, if we're deeply gonna listen to the voices of the people here and report out, not only did we hear you, we're going to respond, and we're gonna use what you say as a lens to screen our candidates. And it takes a team that has experience navigating those types of complexities to be able to be effective in doing that. HYA Associates has 35 years of executive search experience. We've done over 1,600 searches in America, 80 plus searches per year, by far more than any other national search firm in this country. We have 130 national associates, and we have, again, Clark County knowledge with the equity work. One of our team members, Dr. Montoya, is at UNLV, and she's doing a lot of work within the district, and they're a strong partner with your principal pipeline work. And we also have, again, former CCSD executives and Ms. Adams here. We know the community and we're responsive. We have a 9.4% satisfaction rating of people who we've worked with, and we give that immediate feedback after. We strive for 100%. We're going to assess for excellence, then 100% should be our standard, and we strive towards that. But we'll talk to you in a moment about our data analytics. We have a full back office with IT, so you will have a company that has the capacity to give you what you need, to give you real-time information immediately, effectively, and clearly, and make sure we communicate with all board members. And I think that's important. One of the things we commit to when we do a search is that even though we have a point person from the board, we believe it's essential when we get a question from a board member, just like when you're a superintendent, everybody should get that response. So no one should feel like they got more information than another, because we're working for the board as a collective, and we have to make sure we demonstrate that and be clear as we do it. We have a code of conduct and policies established. We make sure we are on time, professional, and confidential. This is, and that's important to us. And we're deeply connected with AASA, ALAS, the National Association of Black School Educators and their state affiliates. Again, we run the Urban Superintendents Academies. We are connected with universities, both here in Nevada and abroad. Members of the American Educational Research Association, ASPRA, National School Board Association, and our superintendent academies. Of the Council of Great City School Districts, we have conducted searches for 77, of the 77 member districts, we've conducted searches for 72% of them. Again, they're the largest urban school districts in America. You are a part of the Council of Great City Schools, as you know, and you see a sample of some of the districts that we have completed searches on over the past 5 years. And when you look at who boards select from the slates that we bring, 22% have been Black, 15% have been Latinx, 4% Asian, 22% women. And as our slated candidates from the 22-23 school year, we had 20% Black, 13% Latino, 6% Asian, 36% woman. So we strive. We're not satisfied if we give you a slate that is just internal, just external, just men, just women. We believe that there's excellence abound. And I can tell you from working in your district with some of your people who are aspiring to be central office leaders and so forth, you have extraordinary candidates within your district. And so though we do a national search, it's essential for us that we search internally as well. So you have a strong balance of internal, external candidates. Because what I know, quite frankly, and you'll find with me that I'm very honest and brutally blunt. That sometimes people don't feel internally that they have the same opportunities, and that's something we want to invite people to know. We want the best, and if the best is internal, then compete. Is how the approach we take. When we look at 3 districts that are kind of similar projects to what we would anticipate here, we recently did the Los Angeles search, which had 600,000 students. We recruited Alberto Cavallo, and he's been there for 3 years. We did the Fort Worth ISD, which has 80,000 students, and Angelica Ramsey is there, and she's in her 3rd year. That was an 18-week search, and for Cavallo, it was a very fast search. We did that in 10 weeks. And then the Maryland Department of Education was a search that was recently conducted. Maryland Department of Education has 880,000 students, and we have Dr. Carrie Wright there, and she was appointed in May of 2024, and that was an 18-week search. So as you can see, just across the board in recent searches, a very diverse slate of candidates that came from around the country. Our typical process, all of the people you're going to see today are going to talk to you about engaging, recruiting, selecting, and transitions. So we'll let you know that it typically takes about 4 months to do a search. We feel that's adequate time, but we work with the board. At HYA, we believe this is your search. We ask lots of questions. We ask you what you want. But we adjust based upon your needs, and we let you know at every point of the way, this is your decision. We'll give you advice. We'll give you structure. We'll give you direction. We keep you focused. But this is totally your search, and we want you to feel that. It's important to us. So, why HYA? I mean, we focused on human interactions. It's your search, and we're an accomplished firm. It's important for all of us on our team to get to know you as board members. We got to know your hopes, your dreams, your aspirations, because you've got a tough decision that you have to speak to your community about. And so understanding the divergent voices and the divergent thinking that is on your board and helping you come to consensus is something that we have the experience to be able to do. Also, you tell us the process. We adjust as we go. I can tell you I'm on a search right now that was supposed to be 3 months or 4 months, but the board felt like, and the community demanded that we want to get it right. Let's take our time. Let's slow down. We did. We adjusted. We're moving forward, and now we have a slate of 8 extraordinary candidates. But it took an extra 2 months to do that, and we have so pleased the board. We go back to the drawing board when we're working on this, and we need to know that. We will take time to know your strategic plan, know your district, know your community members. Listen to them. When we put our leadership profile together, we don't just summarize and give you a one-pager. We want to make sure every person who took the time to write something sees it there, the way they wrote it. Unless there's profanity and things, we'll clean that up, because students like to watch that stuff too. We want to be mindful. But in general, we'll take what people write and put it there, because we want to let you know this is where we got the synthesis from. Again, we have 2 experienced qualitative researchers on the team, me and Dr. Montoya, who are able to really look through this work and use the data analytics to be able to get you the stuff. But we show you the raw data before we just come and say, this is what people said. It's important that your community sees the transparency and knows that they have been heard. And then again, we've been doing this for a long time. I think the greatest strength we have is we have 130 associates, but we have technology that allows us to touch thousands of people on a daily basis, and we have the data analytics to be able to, once You tell us the profile you're looking for. We can put it into our data system and push out to candidates who have applied, who've demonstrated those characteristics in terms of getting out in front. And that's one of the things that makes us different. Another is that we understand, your district. Your vision, your strategic plan has three main priorities: that you want to connect culture, you want to optimize talent, and you want striving students. We take your strategic plan and it becomes the basis, along with that leadership profile, of the types of questions and activities that we suggest that your candidates demonstrate to you and to your community that they are ready to execute on your vision, your mission, and your core values. We look at the board strategic plan. We will interview each board member individually. We will participate in as many focus groups as we need to make sure that this community is heard. We participate in community forums, both in person, online. We want to go through each region of your community. It shouldn't just be one community. I mean, if we have to go through 10 or 15 or 20 or 30 schools, we'll do that in person or virtually. We like a combination of both, quite honest, because everybody can't get to a particular location, but they can get on a Zoom. And we've been very successful gathering data, utilizing technology. And we have a survey that we can customize for you. We don't, Clark County would have a pretty advanced research team. And so we could engage with your research team to customize the survey that we have. I mean, we have a survey that is validated in key areas, but we can align it to your strategic goals and priorities. And we can put it in any language that it needs to be put in as we pull it out and gather the information. Again, our goal through this process is to be your ambassador, to listen to your constituents and to validate their voices and to bring to you what has been heard. So again, we do it in face-to-face Zooms and various resources. People email us all the time. I mean, when we accept this job, we are your 24-hour service. People will get responded to immediately. You can call us day and night, and we will respond promptly. It's important. It's important that we're responsive and we listen as we go through. Particularly, look, we know that Nevada has one of the most stringent open meeting policies in the country, and we don't ever suggest that we fight the media. Let's give them what they need and what they want, and let's keep the community posted and informed about the work that's happening. That's a good thing. When you have people actually caring enough to respond, and let's give them what they want, and we let our candidates know this, and let our candidates know that the children of Clark County schools are worthy of you stepping out and saying, yes, let the world know I want to be here. Right? That's what we would expect. But we will have focus groups and make sure that we're intentional. I named some of the groups that I met as we worked on the anti-racism policy, but I'm sure that there are a multitude of other groups that are out there that need to be listened to and heard. And we work with board members to connect and make sure we get out there aggressively to listen. As the survey comes, our survey is norm referenced, very, very focused. It allows you to see different voices in different areas. This is something that I think differentiates us in terms of the quality. Hazard Young and Associates has a parent company, ECRA, which is a data analytics company, and we work together to make sure that the data that you get is accurate, focused, and clear. So you will know by the end of our process what your community is seeking, and we break it down by the groups that you tell us are important to you in terms of who the identifiers of the survey as we go through there. We have many ways in terms of technology to collect data. So this is an example. If you were to have candidates speaking to the community, we could put out different QR codes and things to be able to get feedback on the candidates and things of that nature. So we use technology effectively to gather information to be able to give it to you very quickly and very accurately as we work through. And again, when you look at the number of searches that we do, you can see in the 2022-2023 year and the 2021-2022 year, we do many more searches than the other national search firms that are there. And when you look, we have 21,360 email subscribers that get our monthly newsletter that we send out. 41,000 unique users on our website who are looking to find jobs since 2023. Our candidates, when they go to our website, they have a candidate profile. So we have 5,576 registered candidates. This is important because these are people who are looking for jobs and are looking to us to find them. And so when we put our parameters in, it gives us an initial list of candidates to go out to begin screening. So we're not just looking, for friends and family. We have a methodical way to actually go through and look for the best in the country, in addition to knowing, the other sitting superintendents and others in large urban school districts and just large districts around the country that would meet your profile. But again, understanding what it is that you want would help us to refine what we look for. We don't look for anything until we know with clarity it's the wish of the board, and this is what the community and the board has said we want, because we feel that it's our responsibility to, when we bring that slate to you, to be able to talk to how these candidates align to the criteria that you have predetermined for us to go out with. I mean, so we're not, if they don't fit the criteria, we will not bring them forward to you. That's important.
So if you go back one, I think it's important to note that our track record, when you look at that, that is really something that stands out, that the 94% of the superintendents placed in the last 10 years stay the full term of their first contract. So there's longevity there that goes into superintendents doing a successful job. And then 75% of the superintendents placed are recruited by HYA and Associates.
Yeah, so we have a candidate recruitment, so it's sort of like a LinkedIn internally. So we can go in, and when candidates put their information into our data system, you can click it and it'll take us straight to their LinkedIn information and so forth. So as we're doing the initial search of just screening candidates, this is the process that we utilize. So it gives us a good lead out of the gate, running with people who are looking for jobs, because what I'm sure from your experiences with superintendent searches and processes, candidates tend to look for multiple jobs. And so they're not just in one search more often than not. And we work to make sure we know where candidates are, to make sure we communicate to the board so you know where you are in terms of those positions. But three, it's our job to give you as a board the best competitive edge to get the best candidate that is out there, knowing that there are multiple searches happening at the same time in many places. But in terms of our screening, we make sure we check references. We'll give the board a news and social media review when we present the candidates. It's important when you see a candidate that you know everything about them that's available publicly, because if we don't tell you, the public will. So we make sure we get it to you first, so you're clear about that. We do check references. Given our deep networks in the nation, we know a lot of things about a lot of candidates that might not come up, in the media, but we're aware, and if we're aware, we make you aware of those things that are important. But we do have a formal third-party investigative background check that we strongly recommend that everybody takes, so you can see their financials, you can see their criminal background, and it's very intensive. But we want you to see everything up front. Interested candidates, we make sure that they don't move forward in the process unless you're clear about who they are. And if they're under contract, we make sure we read their contracts to see what the stipulations would be to release them. There are instances where boards put in a contract that if someone leaves early, that there's a penalty that has to be paid, and that board, you would need to be aware of that, because most of the time candidates would ask you to pay for that, so that would be a part of the negotiations if you chose to do that. We also are open to recruiting non-traditional candidates if that's the will of the board. These are people who may not have the same educational chops that other candidates may have, or may never been a teacher, but may have been a business leader or something else that you might deem as important. If that's something of interest, then we do have the ability to also look in the private sector and education organizations through our executive coaching and other opportunities. We have connections with military leaders and other folks and people who work in the universities and so forth. So depending on how broad or how limited the scope of the board is, we're able to recruit in those areas. I think this is important, particularly for Clark County. Urban education is tough, and the political climates can be tough. And you need people who are managing the search that can excel in navigating in very complex, confidential, dynamic environments while promoting the strengths of the school district. We have worked in some very complex places, and we know how to give the board advice, working with the board's legal counsel, working with communications, many times, sometimes internal communications, sometimes it warrants external communications support. We don't have a problem helping you understand and see those dynamics. Like our years of experience in the gray has given us some wisdom to say we can try to navigate some of these challenges that may come as you work to keep candidates, high quality candidates, in the process, and managing all of the dynamics that come as you are looking for a high quality superintendent. Again, because we understand the state, we know the difference between Nevada and Nevada, right? Here. And for us, we make sure we balance candidates' needs for confidentiality and the public's right to know. Our recruitment process is confidential, and candidates will remain confidential until that final slate is chosen for the board to interview and the candidate has actually applied. At that point, candidates know your name must be released. It's not an option. Our recruitment is active. 75% of our slated candidates were recruited, and they just don't simply apply. Because of the open laws, it's harder to recruit here than in other places. I'll be honest. If anybody says it's not, they're lying to you. Sitting superintendents do not want to step out sometime and just be out there because they might not be able to go back home. But we believe this opportunity is so great, it won't deter us from reaching out to the best candidates that we can see. But they have to understand that there will be a point where we do have to release names. This cannot be confidential in any way, shape, or form. But that does make the work harder for recruitment, and that's why someone who knows you and someone who knows the community is important, because we have to inspire some folks sometimes who might have great jobs to take this risk at this moment to serve an amazing community. And so we won't be passive in our recruiting, but as a complement to the work, we're doing the field, we're doing it in the field actively recruit. And many examples of passive recruitment on the website and social media. So we push a lot of stuff out, and you'll see that constantly flowing. We have some post-selection guarantees, so we will redo a search if in the first year that candidate leaves. So as long as the board doesn't flip and just stops liking the candidate within the first year, that happens in other places, never happened here. And in some places it does happen. But we will redo a search in those situations if someone does leave at no cost. We do not actively recruit candidates from HYA clients during the first term of their contract. However, we can't exclude them from applying, and if they do, they'll be considered. And candidates for Clark County will likely be candidates elsewhere. And so there's no obligation that we can reveal where they are because they might be in a confidential process. If we know, we'll share it, but there are times where people just choose not to tell and they're in a confidential process and they don't tell us. And then in that instance, there's just nothing we can do. But if we know, we will communicate that to you because it's important for you to be aware of where you are as you focus. And then moving into transition. I think another thing that makes us different and I think is a differentiating factor is we know that once a superintendent gets the job, there's support needed with the board to build relationship, build support, and more importantly, to focus on achievement. And so we do give a transition dashboard for free for that first year, which allows for transparency and accountability. This is about a $10,000, free thing we give. We say it's free the first year. After that, if you want to keep it, then you do pay for it. Is the caveat there. But what it does do is allow you to put out what your data is, and as communities call for more transparency and how you're doing what you're doing and why you're doing what you're doing, dashboards can allow you to tell the story. I know from years of experience of serving in urban districts and now training urban superintendents for the last 5 years, urban districts must tell their stories. And you have to tell the story of growth because the fact is you've got students that may be here that came, did not speak English at all, and were in 4th grade, grew 3 years, but did not make your 4th year standard. You should be able to tell that story of growth because what's going to happen what's going to happen at the end of the year is going to be that absolute thing. Did you make it or did you not? There's a story behind that, but districts must have the right data to tell that story and have the right systems in place to make sure its kids are growing or not. And these dashboards can help you with that process. And again, we can tell you at any time how our advertisement is going, who's clicking, how many people are looking at it, where we're placing your advertisements, and what are you getting kind of bang for your buck. That's important as you're going through. And we work to help you understand how much interest is in your position. Do we need to do more outreach? Is there something that we need to do with salary, competitiveness? Like we can understand. So why aren't people applying if that is the case? And we also can use a board dashboard. Some people love a board portal. We have the capacity to give everybody a private passcode. In that passcode, we will give all data on all candidates. It's our one-stop shop to give all communications for the board and communicating back and forth. Again, some boards absolutely love it. Some boards, like good old-fashioned paper, and we can do whatever you need us to do. Or some boards like a hybrid. Some people love it, some people do not. We can adjust and adapt, but it's a part of our ability to communicate effectively with you, to upload and give you that information. We believe that we can begin the search in June and effectively have your superintendent done by November 1st. And we would spend the first bit of time understanding what the board likes, developing the profile, getting out, listening to people, doing interviews. Then we'd move into community engagement and focus groups. And by August, we'd have a clear leadership profile. And then we'd move to first, second rounds of interviews. And those interviews, again, we can customize how and what the ways we want to do that. And I think it's important for a board to come to consensus on that. But we have experience helping you be able to do that. And I have 30 seconds left. So I'll go ahead and stop. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Okay. All right, colleagues, at this time we have 20 minutes to have our questions answered. I'll start with the first person in the queue, Trustee Williams.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you for this presentation. I was kind of bummed to not see Mr. Ali here.
Yes.
Like he's my guy.
Yes.
So I was excited to see that you guys had submitted an RFP, and bummed now because he's not here, so you'll have to tell him.
I promise you I will tell them.
Okay. I really appreciate this. My only question, because I've seen your guys' work. I know you guys do a lot of things. My question is, because you know Vegas, because you know Clark County, how do you reach candidates and sell them this district? Because like I asked the previous group, this county goes viral a lot. We do a lot of really good things, and unfortunately that's not why we go viral, right? And it's why New York knows who we are, it's why Florida knows who we are, it's why DC knows who we are, it's why the congressional House members know who we are. And so how do you, I guess, communicate to a candidate that there's a lot of good things going on in this district, and not only will you have to build a relationship once, but every 4 to 5 years when people move in and out, because it is so transient.
One of the things, and thank you so very much, Member Williams, for that question. One of the things that we would have to do is make sure that they see the good things that are happening here. Encourage them and help them navigate the website. Help them see and understand what are the positive things that are happening in the school district, because as in any school district, there's positive news, there's negative news, but many times the good often outweighs the negative news. And so you have to really accentuate the positives to make sure that they are able to understand what are the things that children are achieving. What is the graduation rate? What are the opportunities that children have here in Clark County School District? What happens in terms of equity? Where does the board stand in terms of supporting? You have a policy, but where does the board stand in supporting that superintendent with regard to equity? And when those tough decisions have to be made, where is it that the superintendent and the board have built that relationship so that they can stand together in equity and then truly live out the policy that you've created?
And more specifically, I can also say, you've been a board that has been vocal, and as a collective, you've stood up for children. There's evidence. Like, if people stop and watch what you've done, you have stood for equity and getting it right for all children of all backgrounds. There's evidence. So I just point to the evidence to say, there are things that happen, and media does what media does. But when you look at where they have voted and what they focused on and what their DNA is, if you're a person that really wants to do real deep work in a place that needs, dramatic growth, accelerated growth, focus on children, there's an opportunity for you. Like, you have to strike people on the mission. Like if you're afraid, don't go there, because it's tough.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that, especially going into an election year, as we've all seen before, especially if you're from this district, and knowing that our full-time staff works tirelessly amount of hours, and I don't want a superintendent coming in and saying, you guys aren't doing it right, you guys are doing it wrong, I'm cleaning house, because I don't want them to have that type of preconceived notion that our staff isn't doing the jobs that they've been hired to do, because they do it and they excel at it. So
I think that falls on us as well, as we are vetting candidates and developing that slate, helping them understand, how are you navigating the politics? What is your current political structure? And how does that either complement or not Clark County School District?
Yeah,
it's those real conversations.
Yeah, and we know because we understand Clark County that this isn't, a job for a political novice. It's just hard, and it's just you've got to be ready and have seen some things before Clark County. You can be in a mid-sized or smaller. Most districts in the country are smaller than Clark County, right? So, but if you're coming from a 80,000, 100,000-ish district, Clark County, you probably can handle that. There'll still be a learning curve. There's always a learning curve. But knowing is half the battle. And you have some extraordinary staff within this district. I'm a witness. Like, I've seen 120 And there's a screening process for us, right? Maybe I'm seeing the best, but your best is real good. I can tell you.
Thank you. I want to take a moment to acknowledge Trustee Watson, who's on the phone, and give him an opportunity to ask questions, if he'd like. I think that we can move on, and if Trustee Watson, if you want to jump in at any point, just signal to us. Thank you. I will go ahead and move on to Trustee Guzman.
Thank you, President Garcia Morales. First, I want to ask council, would we be able to have the dashboard available to us? Because it's not public, it would only be for the trustees?
It would depend on what we put in there. We'd have to discuss that at length, but it would certainly be tricky.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So, so open meeting law only allows us to have certain things, and we have to do it out in the public, right? And so I'm just curious, when marketing us, besides our awesome YouTube channel, I'm just wondering, does that cause a challenge for you? 241, is that a challenge, or is it just one other thing that the candidates need to understand when they're coming to Clark County?
I think it's just one other thing candidates need to understand, that you, again, I've been through both processes before. Much more reluctant to do it when I was a superintendent, because of the nature of it, even because there's the risk that's involved. And so, but that's even in a closed search, that candidates can be apprehensive. But the more the consultants know the district, can communicate the work that's happened, that understand the board, where the board's trying to go, the more you can convince, and that's what it takes. I mean, for Clark County, it will take convincing because of the process, and because people know, they're just afraid of the process sometimes. We get it all the time. Candidates constantly say to me, can't we just do a closed search, and can't they just announce one person? And it's like, well, if the community is fine with that, they could, but in most places, no. So now what do we do? Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why I think you should do it anyway. And it's the insight that you have that really, we've been very successful, and in this team in particular has been very successful. This team, we have Nancy Perez, who's chief operating officer, and one of the owners of the company would be on this one, because it's that important to us. And again, each one of us has deep networks and connections that can, at least, people will pick up the phone and answer the call to have the discussion, and the deep discussion, and that matters.
Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Satori?
There we go. All right, thank you so much. I appreciate the presentation. I have two questions. One regarding the community engagement survey. It said it's an online research-based community engagement survey, and it seemed like there was, a lot of questions in there and data obtained. Are those questions customizable, or are they kind of standard that we choose from?
No, they're very customizable. We have areas, and there's a white paper that we can give you too, with a kind of a research backing behind it. But generally, it focuses on vision, it focuses on management, it focuses on safety, it focuses on engagement, morale, human resources, those kind of broad areas. But we can add or take things out. I just recently did it in Patterson, New Jersey, I can tell you, and we worked with the unions, very union-oriented place, to have them look it over beforehand. To say, are there things that are of concern here? Because we want to work together, and we need you to help us get it out. And by collaborating, of the 2,125 participants, the people that could have taken it, teachers, 1,716 took it. It was like an 83% success rate. because we worked together and said, it's not got you, here's what we're gonna do with it, here's why.
Thank you very much. And my next question is a clarifying question on screening the candidates. You talked about the leadership profile report, and my understanding was it was a profile that the applicants would complete. There's data that's obtained from that. Do you also do in-person interviews, or do you screen from what they submitted and then we do the in-person? Like, do you do on your end also before bringing them forth to us, or they're in-person?
Yeah, so we speak with you for you to tell us about how many candidates that you want us to screen for. We'll show you everybody that applied, and typically we tier our candidates. So we'll say 50 people applied, but of those 50, here are the 8 to 10 candidates that we believe align to the leadership profile that was developed based upon community input. And then we'll walk you through that. But then we might have a tier 2 that says, so these are candidates that didn't fit all the criteria. We think they could do the job, but there are some things that we thought were missing. And we wanted to show you that. And then tier 3 would be, these are candidates we don't think qualify. But having said that, I mean, I just went through a search where people were intrigued by some candidates that we didn't necessarily think qualified, and as the answer is always to the board, you can interview them. Like that, it's your process. And we gave you our thoughts and why, but it's not our decision.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Cavazos?
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you very much for the presentation. I want to give Dr. Joseph a break here and pick on Dr. Adams here, since you both were doing it so extremely well. I had a question about your emphasis on community involvement, and again, very, very effective on the technology part. I wondered if you could tell me about an in-person community involvement that you found very effective. Doesn't matter which district or whatever, but just an example.
Absolutely. The first one that comes to mind is just the connection with the NAACP and being able to work with the NAACP with regard to what are the wants and needs that they are seeing coming from the specific community. Also looking at the chambers of commerce, because we know that we want our students to be not just academically sound. We want them to have that financial literacy component. We also want them to look at school connecting to the real world. So understanding if, as an educational institution, we are preparing students for the real world, what is it that our chambers of commerce are looking at? When you look at the urban chamber with the Asian chamber and the Latin chamber, what is that connection to the superintendent and how that would come to play? And I think the third one that comes to mind is looking at our religious organizations and understanding how they play a part in the development of our youth and our children, and reaching out to them to see what are the things that they see, within the churches, within our synagogues, et cetera. What are those things that they are seeing in their congregations, and how do they contribute positively and work collaboratively with the superintendent? Because all of our children are all of our children. And so we have to reach them at every different angle that we can. And so when we talk at HYA about community engagement, it is about embracing the entire community and being able to meet and articulate what are the hopes and dreams and desires of every aspect of our community, and then how do we manifest that in our leader.
And I think it's a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity for the board to work with community stakeholders, to have community stakeholders host some of these sessions. Like, it doesn't have to, sometimes people don't have the same connection or relationship with the board as they do with community stakeholders. So we would encourage the board partner and have a session where people will come out because of the association. It's a very powerful strategy to get families out, particularly, those families that you don't often hear from. Because sometimes, it's an unfortunate reality that sometimes people's experiences within the schools make them less likely to want to actively participate. But if the church is saying that they're hosting this event on behalf of the school or with the school, I trust the pastor, so I think it's okay. and I'm gonna tell you what I feel, because you asked me.
Thank you so much, Dr. Adams and Dr. Joseph. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Colleagues, I want to note for the record that we have 6 minutes left. Thank you. Trustee Bustamante Adams, I believe you're next.
Thank you, Madam President. Here are my questions. How many searches are you currently working on now? What is your largest participation rate in community feedback, the total number amount, and then your experience in placing candidates in hybrid boards?
Okay, first response. So right now, I'm finishing the Atlanta search. We should have that search done by mid-June. So we're finishing that up. Ideally, it's scheduled to be finished on June 11th. So that's the only search that I'm participating in right now. Your second question was largest participation. I would have to get that information. I could tell you, Atlanta, we had 65 community groups, and there were thousands of people. I just don't have the number off me, but I can get it to you. I like to be specific. So as a follow-up, I can send that wherever it needs to go to get you that answer. But a lot of folks came out. I mean, we were in all different types of schools and community spaces, engaging, and we had extreme turnout when the virtual session that we did. Virtual sessions I strongly encourage, again, because it'll get to people at a time that's convenient for them quite often. Everybody can't get out. And then the third, the hybrid. Oh, HYA has experience. I have not. I was deputy superintendent in Prince George's County Public Schools. So I'm familiar with the hybrid board because we had 14 board members. We had some that were appointed by the county executive, some that were appointed by the council, and then some people that ran. And so we had all three constituencies there. So I'm familiar with working with the hybrid board. And I know the opportunities and challenges that exist sometimes there, depending upon the relation, other thing.
Thank you. Trustee Stroff.
Thank you very much for that comprehensive presentation. And I appreciated that you mentioned some of the districts that you worked that were very comparable to us, LA Unified, Fort Worth, and Maryland State. Proven leadership in LA Unified, Alberto Carvalho, which how you did that, wow. So I guess I want to talk about that. So Dr. Adams talked about balanced leadership and looking at, we know we're going to listen to the community, we know we're going to get the feedback, but I want to talk about the other side. What does that leadership profile look at when we look at proven leadership? Can you talk a little bit more about proven leaders coming to us with some experience, and what is your experience with that, and how do you vet that through? If that does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm start off. So sometimes, like I can tell you for Atlanta was clear. We want a veteran superintendent. They were very clear. Like that is our number one. That's what we want. And so that's who we went after. And when we screened in that first round, that's who in that first tier. They were just sitting superintendents who fit the criteria. There were a lot that applied. We believe it's most effective. People can be eloquent and can talk a good game. We like to focus on the results because the results are what they are. So we would strongly encourage this board that there be start off just with a performance, a performance assessment. Have them analyze your school systems data that's available and communicate do a SWOT analysis. What are the strengths? What are the weaknesses? And specifically tell us what you will do when you come in here. Where are you going? And why? And how? And ask those critical questions up front. There's a poem that goes, I'd rather see a sermon than to hear one any day. I'd rather want you to walk with me than just to show the way. The eye is a better pupil and more willing than the ear. Advice may be misleading, but examples are always clear. And the very best of teachers are the ones who live their creed. If I see good put into use, would everyone soon learn to do it? If you let me see it done, I could see your hands in motion, but your tongue too fast may run. and the lessons you deliver maybe find it very true, but I'd rather learn my lesson by observing what you do. For I misunderstand you in the fine advice you give, but there's no misunderstanding how you act and how you live. So you can lock in and have more performance-based stuff. And don't tell me what you will do, tell me what you did. Because the best predictor of success isn't what somebody's gonna tell you they're gonna do, it's tell me what you did already.
I'd like to just put an add to that and add a little value to that. That is why it is very critical when we sit down to develop that leadership profile and we talk about what are those things that as a board you are looking for. And when you're listening to the community, what is it that you're hearing? What are we hearing? And developing that profile.
Thank you. We are at time, and I want to be respectful of your time and ensure that we continue our timeline. Colleagues, thank you for the line of questioning, and thank you both for your presentation today and for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great evening. At this time, colleagues, we are going to transition. We've got 5 minutes